All right. Hello and welcome to episode 27 of the Money Talks. And as usual, we have someone very interesting with an amazing background, someone who started his venture in his second year of college, and somebody who is doing a business that you'll be very surprised. He did not even know how to operate till he had finished high school. So I think we've got the one, the only Pavan. Pavan from Kratikal. Pavan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for an amazing introduction, Anirudh.
So, Pavan, I mean, we're going to dive right into it, but you've got a very interesting story. Like I was just telling you before the pre-show that it just seems that every time I pick one of the entrepreneurs that I actually know, I find out like 10 more times things that I know, about them that I did know about them before the show. So it actually has been a very amazing experience for myself to understand the amazing stories that I have of people that I'm directly connected to. So you started out in a very small village outside of Agra, I believe,
Correct.
right? And you said that this was, can you maybe take us through what that upbringing was like?
So basically, and it is probably a surprise for some people over here because that is, if you had out Pan Singh Thobar or something, the movies like this, that's a kind of place that movie is around from there only. Something like Morena or there is a small village called Bholpura. So the name is Bholpura. So it's a different thing. So I used to study over there, and we used to be in that primary school where you do not have actually pencil and rubber to write on a piece of paper. So we used to stay.
Wow.
Yeah, that is a kalek. I'm not sure if you know. There's a black color which is on tawa, the other part of tawa. You just wrote it. It's black kind of thing. You write the khadiya, which is it's a different thing. I know there are a lot of people who can relate to it, which has been into that particular journey. We used to study on this. So till I think fourth or fifth class, we don't used to have this. We used to have a slate and the chalk, obviously, for study. So the best part is, so when we've been there, so the technology is so far, like you don't have even the electricity. Technology is totally different thing altogether initially. And I'm talking about this is way back in 2000, 2004 or 8 kind of stuff. That journey. So the best part is that I used to. So the interesting part is I never came second in my class till 12th. The BTech is different, huh? So I used
touch a computer till the 12th standard.
Yes, so I've seen the computer.
Malcolm Gladwell is going to have to write a book, which is the book about how the Microsoft founders had access to a computer at a very early age, right? And in your case, you had access to computers but could not touch them, and yet you created a cybersecurity company. That's amazing.
Yeah. So what happened so far is moving forward. Like the people used to say that this guy is going to be engineers and everything because engineers is a big thing so far. And right now it's normalized over there. A lot of people who has been came out, and it's a different thing altogether. So once I was there. So I till 10th class, I think I used to study in a government school, and believe me, the teachers in the government school are too good. It's obviously we just blame them because of the infrastructures, but the kind of skill set they have, if you have a right connection with those people, these people are PhD at that point of time, which is a huge thing. So there was a school which we studied, and the total fees for that school was for a year is 150 rupees, and that's an interesting story altogether again. So till 10th class, I've been there. In 11th, 12th, because my father wants me to get some more exposure, I topped the 10th class, which is, and it's again interesting thing because I topped that particular college, schools basically in 10th with a 54.5% only. That's an interesting thing altogether. I've been handed over a certificate that you are a topper and there's 100 rupees in arm and everything. So that was a different thing. And then my father thought that, okay, this is not something that you built for. He then admitted me to a best school, especially in that particular area, which used to give good students or good toppers kind of people, and that is pure Hindi.
What was your dad's profession?
So my father was home guard. So there's a division in UP Police. There's a home guard which used to go basically. So my father used to work as a guard for Taj Mahal and these places where you have these sometimes in a traffic. Right now, he's obviously in that department promoted as a runner. So it's like he works as a kind of postman so far for that department. So that's a different journey altogether. So once I've been to that school, the best part is I again came in top 3 people when I graduated in 12th. And once after the 12th, my father thought that, okay, it's not a potential that you should give it a try for JEE, IIT JEE or what exam that you have. And that was the best thing that, and there's nothing else that we know. The majority of the people go for either they will go for arts or they will go for science. There's the two
Right.
things that happen. There's nothing called commerce, or there's no other ways by you can think of. So though I was a math student, my PCM was very strong. Like it's one of the I'm still proud on that my exam score is totally different. If you exclude Hindi and English from that, it's different. So I scored a good amount of numbers in that PCM. So and from there, so my father thought that let's give him a try. And also my school principal, who has played a very important role in my life, that he told me that okay, just go and join some coaching institute. So I did a 1 year coaching from Agra itself. Got selected for this JE Advanced. We generally at that one time used to call it AIEEE. And the surprising fact is, so I didn't know. Like I said, I haven't used computer till 12th. I've seen them. Obviously, there are a lot of computer. I know a lot of computers, one or two computer in the college, school, just to showcase okay, we have a computers. So that's how I filled my choices in AIEEE. A for Allahabad, B for biotechnology. And you guys will
Okay.
be surprised. My branch was biotechnology,
Okay. Wow.
and I got it in the first thing, and then I got a chance to change the branch in third round. But my father said, okay, this college is so the NIT Allahabad is a good college. I think people say I'm not sure how I'm not affected it, but the NIT Allahabad is the first college in India who started computer science. Yeah, so my father said that you don't have to change the college. There's an option by which you can upgrade the branch so far while you're in college.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, let's not change the college because I had a good rank. I could have changed it to get CSNIT somewhere else. Then I just opted biotechnology. I had not changed that thought. And he was saying that you always get a good marks. You probably get a good marks in BTech as well. That's a total different story altogether. So then I opted biotechnology. And the first exam that I received, the first class I was working, I was going on, and suddenly the things is different because we used to study in a Hindi medium school where
Okay.
is atom and like the Parmadu is totally different. And when you go to the college where everyone is talking in English, and then you again it's a flash. So it's a bit kind of struggle so far to actually cover that in me. But the best part is I'm not the only one who was just like me in that college. There are I think more than 25 to 30% people who were same of my kind of user group who has been passed out from some various remote villages. So they're a good company, and eventually over the period of time, we learn from ourselves. We learn from each other the kind of environment that you have in these institutions to act not only professionally, but there are tons of things that you also. So the communication is very important part. Apart from the studies that you've gone through. So again, because of this English and Hindi wala thing, the first year or second year was pretty much mess. But in between, like I mentioned before we actually get into this call, we're talking about that how I've been started Kratikal. So in that second year, so
But
it started.
before we get there, I want to ask you a couple of things. Like your father, who's a home guard, put you through, so many years of studying, right?
Yeah.
Today, you must be super proud to see you, like, I mean, at the helm of cybersecurity. I mean, ever dream of you being where you are today?
So yeah, I don't think so. He has dreamed of because the another reason is it's very difficult to tell them what I exactly do because obviously they do not have too much access to the to computers or internet right now even today. But I obviously now over the period of few years they have understood that what I exactly do, and he's very proud. Like so he's worked so hard. Not only my father but also my mother because he used to work in a fields. So we are a farmer, and because home guard's job gives you a very good salary, which is at that time, which I can clearly remember is 4,000 or 3,000 rupees, which is a very less amount of money for a month. So we used to work in a fields and then everything. So we have a farm so far. So my mother and father has equally contributed in this. And I know that when I bought my first car and my mother was in, I can actually feel the emotions on his face. So that's a different story altogether. But what my parents has seen is, and my parents has always believed in that education is something that can change and transform people. So they actually put it a lot of effort into our education, keeping loan or whatever they can do so far. And like I said, so we do not have those financial assistance. I studied on education loan, so I haven't get a single penny from father for getting into the NIT Allahabad. And the best, and thanks to SBI, they were there and they just started my loans and everything. So that's a pretty good story. I think they have been supporting from a long time, and right now, obviously, they are pretty much happy on what they have.
No, and I think it's a story that definitely I think all of UP should be proud of. I think UP is very well known for obviously sending the most amount of candidates for the administrative services, right? And may not
Right?
be as popular maybe for entrepreneurship, but for to have somebody like yourself becoming a bellwether, like coming from like you said, not even touching a computer till you were almost 14, 15 years old, and now today, less than 10 years later, you're leading a cybersecurity company. It's a very big deal. I think this is definitely a story to talk about. So,
Yeah.
before you started Kratikal Academy, you were also doing courses on Udemy. What was that about?
So basically, what happens so far is obviously in a college you need some. So before I just go to the Critical Academy or instructor, how I become a instructor on Udemy, the important part is why. So I become an instructor on Udemy after starting Critical. So that's a
Okay.
different thing. So like I said, I built an account and I think on Facebook as well as Google and Yahoo and whatever social media was there. What I did so far is I created an account, and after some time or some days, I received a link on my email saying, okay, there are some important documents. I just click on that document because, like I said, I was not familiar with it too much with the internet, and they asked me for password. It does look exact similar looking like a page which looks like a Gmail. I put it up ID password, and then my email account got hacked. They have changed my phone number, everything. I was not able to get those access to those accounts again. So what I did is this is like a blackout for me because they hacked Facebook from Gmail because you have a get a reset password on Gmail, and then posted a lot of bad stuff so far, which actually was different, like kind of different experience for me. And I what I like I said, so we were hustlers, like not only me. Like I said, there are tons of people who came from same backgrounds. It's not too much important for me for social media because I just joined it. But it's very important that how the people able to get access to those accounts when we have a security like Facebook, Google as protecting us from whatever ways they have. And
Correct.
then I tried to investigate, okay, how this attack has been done so far on me. And then I eventually found there are 10 other ways by which you can actually hack it. And that's the day when I realized the true potential of that particular idea. And you wouldn't believe, I was so this was last sem exam, before even second year, this is the first year we are completing. I was giving the last exam of my semester and I was writing something and the thought was going on my brain. So I just completed the exam, gave it to the guy, to the instructor, and came back directly to my room. And like so, there's one more important thing I forgot to mention. The critical was started by me, my co-founder Paratosh, and Deepjang, and we all three are from same college. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah, he was just adjusted to my room. Then I told him that, hey Para, look around this. I found this way by which people hack accounts. Huh? This is how it's being done. So we call it Para. Paratosh was his name is Paratosh. This is how I actually can hack it, and the people can hack it. And do you know, like we can do a lot of things. It's not only protecting ourselves, but we can actually add a lot of value in people's life if we can make sure that they are not getting hacked. Think like this. I
So
can
true.
tell you today's scenario. A poor guy, which is a victim of these frauds which are happening so far, OTP fraud, like they call these fraudsters call. There's a village called Jamantar in Jharkhand, from where they call it, ask for OTP, and his entire money for let's say 1 or 2 lakh rupees gone away. You cannot believe it took us a year of time to actually get that money into his account, and this is like
Wow.
vanished in a fraction of second. And there's no one who can help you in this scenario. You go to the police station, they don't even have a right kind of tool skill set to understand what cybercrime is. Although thanks to Indian government, they've recently started something called cybercrime.gov.in. There are a lot of initiative that has been done so far. But at the same time, there's nothing which can educate them on how these things are happening. Not only
Sure.
educate, but also transform this platform. So the platforms, let's say the apps, let's say you have tons of you already have that 60 or 70 investment. I'm not sure you I'm pretty much sure that you never asked them for a security audit. You haven't checked so you do a financial due diligence, but the security due diligence is as much as important than the financial due diligence. Because if they lose the data, the credibility goes and company can face a lot of problems.
Very true,
And
actually. Very true.
yeah,
Yeah, one of the companies I invested in, I got a hacker. I mean, somebody had contacted me saying I'm an ethical hacker, And I got that ethical hacker to actually give me a security audit of the company that I was about to invest in. He came back with a 10-page report, which was just red everywhere. And then that company actually hired that person as a CTO, and he became a co-founder in that company. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
So that's how we started. So I just thought, okay, let's do something. So we started. I think we registered this domain. I think May 2012, Kratikal.in. That was the first domain. Thanks to my college again that we understand what is basic language, C, Python, PHP, and everything. So we built our website by our own. There's a small page we created. So how we started is that obviously we do not have a reach to enterprises for sure in a college, and no one will listen to you even if you're a college kid unless you prove something. And if you prove something, there is chances of getting in a legal trouble as well. So we said, okay, let's what we can do so far to actually help the society. It was never so we never thought we will become an enterprise or we will become a startup. There's no investment. There's nothing that we even thought about. It's just a plain simple problem that we want to solve. That's it. Nothing else. We started. So I, along with Paratosh, and then there's a guy called Deepjang Thapa who was working with me. So I used to be in a very much in extracurricular activities. So let's say going for a fest marketing, doing a marketing, getting funds and everything. So we understand these techniques of how to pitch to the customers, get it on board. And when you actually do a marketing, especially for the fest, you're not giving them anything. You're actually getting a money for giving
Right.
them nothing. So when you give them some value, probably they're gonna buy it. So that's the kind of things. So Deep was with me on like we were in the same team. So I asked him if he can contribute something with us, and that's how we all three come together. There's some couple of other I'll say not co-founder, a couple of people from a first year, second year, or juniors who help us in this journey. So there's a lot of people at the front of time in college, and that's how we built in a small group, and we call this group as in Kratikal. Okay, so that we will educate
Why
people.
the name? Why the name though? How did the name come up? Kratikal.
Okay, Kratikal is a very important name. So, like I said, we were in Allahabad. It's a Hindi place kind of
Mhm.
thing. Kratikal means Krati means creation, Kal means tomorrow. So it's a futuristic innovation is the actual meaning for Kratikal. Yeah,
Futuristic innovation. Wow.
yeah.
Well, that's very interesting. I always thought it was critical applications. So
No. So it matches to the critical, but yeah, so Kratikal is like a Hindi word. That's how we thought is. Then the people come up with this the definition that it can pronounce as in critical as well. So
yeah, correct.
yeah, it can be. So that's how we actually named it. And that's how we started the entire journey. And then obviously here we are.
So what does I mean? I know we've all talked about Kratikal and the fact that your education career and Kratikal are very close to each other. So, but what does Kratikal do?
So Kratikal, I just divide into three parts. We majorly are focused on a product. So we have a three segment. And if you go, let's not go what Kratikal do. Let's just see the problem in the industry. What is the problem currently? If you see information security, it's divided into three parts: people, process, and technology. If you actually solve these three problems, and these are the three major categories, there are other ways by which people define it: proactive, active, and reactive. There are three different other ways by which you can do that. People, processes, and technology. Technology is like where you have a product like antiviruses, softwares, VPNs, firewalls, everything. The proactive softwares, which are proactive, active, or reactive, whatever software that you have. Processes is like the processes which is being defined by regulators like GDPR, if you know, the RBI
Yep.
compliances, ISO 27001. These are the processes. And then the third is come to the people. If you go through the data currently, 90% of the attack and more than 91% of the attack, which is happening right now, is because of the people. And
Okay.
this is a huge problem. Like everyone identified it. And this data is not coming from me, it's coming from Oracle, KPMG, Kaspersky, or whatever that you go for. Because it's very hard to penetrate currently into the technological system directly. But if you use a human which can click on a link, which is very easy to make them an email, send them an email, or currently a text, because in a text you don't have a I'll say this firewall installed into your phone, which can check okay what kind of things that you have, which can directly give them access to your network, and then they can actually directly penetrate into your internal networks or servers, whatever they wanted to get in. So the people part was very important, and that's what we figured out that we'll solve this people part, that 90% problem, because of which why the majority of the hacks are happening. Take out any example, like the valuation was kept down by billions of dollars. The total loss because of this is more than $1 trillion into the entire world. So
Wow.
it's the particular reason we focused on, which is the people. But obviously, to solve this problem, only the awareness training cannot solve the problem. So what we did so far is that we wanted to mix human intelligence with the artificial intelligence to provide them a comprehensive report. There are a lot of buzz about AI and all so far in every other industry. But if we talk about security, people take the name called AI very cautiously. The reason is there's nothing in security called 99%. I cannot say you're 99% safe. Like if you
Well,
have 1% got hacked, you're done.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
I mean, it's a 0-1 game, right?
yes,
Either
it's zero.
you are or you're not. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a binary game. Believe me that the people, there are people who knows what kind of loopholes they have, or there are people who does not know. So I know that there are we know that some people that they're hacked. There are people who know that they are hacked, and there's some people who does not that they are hacked. Means eventually all people are already hacked. The only thing is that you how much you can eventually protect your data from various sources, and there are a lot of best practices that you can follow from a user awareness perspective, not only from that perspective, but also put up some controls which can actually clear the noise. So we have a two set of approach. One is you can clear the noise from a single standpoint. If I again go for a technical terms, a bit like technical terms, that you have a system, an app that you created, and now you wanted to protect that app. There are tons of issues or bugs which can exist into that particular system, and there are a lot of scripts which are already available on internet by which the people can download the script and exploit your app. So what happens so far is if you put up a right control or software which can recognize already pre-existing script, it can actually stop any script ready to actually hack into the system. So that's
Okay.
how the technology can play a role. But if someone specifically crafted something, then you have to have a human intervention to make sure that these things are bad things and this should be segregated. So there are a lot of things which are going on. I know. So we work a lot
But
on
usually, what happens? Early stage founders, they typically are cash strapped, right? So
yeah.
they don't have enough don't have enough money. So sometimes that security versus money becomes an issue. So for those kind of founders or those kind of application makers, what is the solution that you offer?
So basically, like I said, so spending, I think if you are a very early stage company, so because these security testing, so again, like I said, so there are three parts. Now we are talking about technology, where you are
Hmm.
talking about the security of the applications and the infrastructures. So if I go into that direction, they don't have to spend a lakhs of rupees. So a good security tester, or a good firm, or a people, even there are a lot of people or individual hackers which can do the work. And if you want some professional things done, you can actually hire a company like us or some other companies which are already in the market. Can in a very specific amount. I'll not disclose that amount, but within a few fraction of lakhs, you can get it done, which is not a huge amount. Obviously,
Under a lakh, you say.
I'll not say under a lakh, but between 1 to 5 lakh, you can get it done very easily. Malab, the
Okay.
first level of, or what you can do so far is that you can convince these companies like we. So what we generally do is we say, okay, if you do not have a money, we can do a contract that says whenever you go for a security audit, give us a small amount of money initially, and then once you grow, we will keep growing along with you. So there are companies which we
Interesting.
have tied up, which we can help them to make sure that okay, their infrastructure is secure. Money is a secondary part. The important part is to make sure that the data is protected.
But no, very, very interesting. So I mean that also helps those founders, right? Because like I said, cash can be a problem early on, right? I mean, once you get funded, 1 to 5 lakhs is not a big amount, at least for a funded company. But when you're starting out, that every lakh that you have, you want to put that into either developing the business or developing the product. So it makes a lot
Yes.
of sense. And I think I mean, what's the best way founders can reach out to Kratikal if they want those kind of services?
So basically, you can just go to the directly website, fill up form, and we just respond within 2 hours, not more than that. And otherwise, they can go to LinkedIn or probably write an email to me, which is on pavan@kratikal.com. It's very easy for us. So reaching out to us is very, very easy. Even though if you just visit our website, we'll get to know that you visited our.
Oh wow. Good one. I'm not gonna go too deep into that. But what I also noticed that while you have something, you've got the Kratikal company, right? You're also running what's called the Kratikal Academy on the side.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
what's this dual thing that you're doing?
So basically, the difference between so the Kratikal Academy is totally different than the Kratikal. Like I said, so Kratikal has a three division. One is product, services, and the academy. Academy is
Okay.
again our product. So when we started, like I said, so this was around user awareness, the people which wanted to understand basic hygiene of security, how they can protect themselves, and that's the best way. The best defense that you have is human. Generally, we call it
Right.
human firewall, so that you can protect themselves. So one is the awareness. The other part is what we have seen while we were building this organization, that there's a lack of huge security professional, not only from your this uh, uh, security testing perspective, but from a secure code review. Like you mentioned, the people who are building an application. What if the guy or the developer knows a basic know-how of security while developing an application? He can actually control those stuff while he's building. So they have to go for security, but on a later stage, not initially. They can close that noise. So what we started is we partnered with one of the government organization called TCOE, Telecom Center of
Okay.
Excellence, to provide cybersecurity certification, because there was no recognized body when we started. Like this is again back in 2015 or 16. I'm talking about a body which actually provide comprehensive content along with the right skill set for people to understand what kind of security loopholes are exist currently in the system. Not only this, but also how you can patch it. So that's how we started. There's a certification course which the Critical Academy runs on that line. So that's this is all about Business Academy. We have trained. I think we already have 40,000 plus people from India who's expressed interest into our programs. But it's a selected program that we go for. Uh, then we also, like you mentioned in Udemy, have myself trained more than 15,000 plus people from 140
Wow.
plus countries using Udemy. Uh, Apart from this, we have written 5 books. Out of them, 3 was available on Amazon Kindle and this Amazon platform. You just go search Kratikal Academy, you'll find those books on platforms. These are especially crafted on human awareness, cryptography, and there's some basic or advanced technology regarding cybersecurity. So that's Critical Academy wala part.
Well, that's, I mean, that's a lot of education that you're putting out there.
Correct.
But how does all of this tie into a business for Kratikal? Like, how does Kratikal actually make?
Okay, so like I said, so there are certification fees for a Critical Academy, which we generally charge from the students. So that's how we make money from there. Now, talking about the products is different. So we have 4 products already live. The one is in beta version 5th, and these all products lies into some specific problem, which is a people-centric problem. Like I said, no one is able to solve that problem, and that's where the Critical come in, and that's where we're actually adding a value on that side. Thus, the first product that we have is an AI based threat simulation and remediation platform. So I'll say awareness platform. So what it does is, and just let's just go back to the problem that I faced so far in college. I received a phishing link, and then I clicked on this, and then I put it up ID password. What if there is an AI based hacker which actually attack you, and you don't know that there's an attack which is going to happen, and then when you submit the password, he triggered you. Okay, you've been hacked. If it would have been real attack, you're gone. What this particular does is it simulate actual attacks right into the environment of enterprises. We generally call it a threat simulation. So based on the
Okay.
user profile, how you wave, it actually segregate attacks, send it to you. You click on those attacks, you being trapped, either you report it. So we have a button by which you can report those attacks. That means you are aware that no attack can come to you, or you actually being tapped into those attacks. Once you tap into the attack, there's an external threat behavior profile which has been built, and there is a lot of things which generally we call as reconnaissance, which goes behind to understand a user behavior. So, what kind of links that you're clicking on, what kind of platform that you're being hacked, and this entire collective things goes to the CISO, which we generally call it Chief Information Security Officer or an Information Security Manager or a CTO of a company, so that they can put up a right control and right skill set into the environment. So it's I'll say it's an attack which is being done so far in real time to educate you. Okay, this is the so let's say from that day to today, I have not clicked on any unmalicious or suspicious link so far because I've already faced that. The same
Correct.
thing happened with this particular product. It simulate, attack, simulate, and give an exact suggestion to the CISO and CIO. Or sometimes, if you wanted to have an API, it directly integrate with your backend system to provide an external intelligence, and then those backend system actually take a corrective measures to make sure that the system is fully protected. So the first part is simulation, then awareness. So let's say if I'll tell you, I think this may look like a bit technical, but let me tell you the simple terms. We have simulated attack in one of the biggest, largest financial company. And this is the first attack that we did so far. I think on 12,000 people, out of which 6,732 people actually put it up ID password into those fake lending pages. 6,000
Wow.
plus people, and that's a huge company. It's like they're doing $50 billion plus revenue as an IPO. If this news goes out, or if the real attackers try to attack onto those systems, and the landing page, when it's a landing page, means the page they clicked on was login to O365. Yes,
Oh
those
wow.
6,000 email IDs, passwords are of those critical user accounts from where I can extract the as much as data I can or I want to. And believe me, within a year of time, we reduced that particular 6,322, we generally call it click rate or a data submission rate, up to 6% only. Okay, so let's say let's say putting up on 100 people, only 6 people are actually submitting the data, and we're trying to achieve it for less than 1%. So that 90% wala problem, we wanted to make it that okay, we should be able to give them miserable metrics. Okay, this is what we were able to make an impact with, or impact. And that's the reason,
Hmm.
precisely the reason, that the customer which goes with us do not leave us. Like we have a customer from last 3 years, 4 years, and these are like still going on. We have a 3 years, 4 year contract, which is going on seamless without any problem. And
And I believe you do business in about 40 countries.
yes, we do.
Okay.
So that's include product services. As this is one of the product that I mentioned. The other product is, and this is from a human awareness standpoint or simulation standpoint. By the way, it's a one of the compliance for NBFC and banks to do that. Like RBI says
Okay.
straightforward that you have to do that because they know the importance of those things. The other product that we have is DMARC. So let's say you have a domain which is, let's say, damani.com. On this time, someone sent an email from your domain, let's say anurod@damani.com. First of all, do you know that there's something like this can happen?
No, I get them. I've got emails from myself sometimes, which I've never
Exactly.
sent.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's the precise reason. So what happened so far is a few years back, there's a protocol which has been developed called DMARC, which
Okay.
authenticates your email. So we have built a product by which it integrates with DMARC. Basically, it's a smart implementation of DMARC. If you put that product, we generally call KDMARC, means critical DMARC. If you put that product, no one will be able to send an email on your behalf. So you authorize people, or not say people, the servers. Let's say if you're using G Suite or O365, so you only authorize O365 with a specified key that these are the system you can send an email on your behalf. If someone is sending this email, those email will be directly rejected or put into spam. So that's the kind of product that it's a SaaS-based product. We already have 240 plus customer in a 8 days launch. So we just recently launched in the US market. In a 8 days
Oh
launch
wow.
in the market, yeah. 240 plus customers for that particular SaaS product, which is called KDMA. So, and not only this, so this is from a production side. This also helps email marketer or the people like you, which or anyone like us as well. So when we send an email to the people, we want this email should get into the inbox of a user.
Correct.
If the email is legitimate, well, like I said, so this tool helps to make sure that the email is legitimate. Once you do that, the sender or the receiver. So let's say if you're sending an email from O365 to me, which is pavan@kratikal.com, we are on G Suite or Gmail. Then when you send an email, G Suite inquiries KDMARC, which we have put it up KDMARC in between. Okay, is this our actual email coming from a right source? If yes, what are the action that it should take? So the
Hmm.
receiver take an action, predefined action, which is I have already defined it to my system. Okay, if the email is coming from O365, this email should go to the inbox. If the email is not coming from O365, this should not go to the inbox. So by doing this, the receiver knows exactly from which emails you are sending an email or which source you are sending an email. So if someone tries to spoof you, they cannot devalue your email reputation or domain
Got it.
reputation. Because of
Hmm.
that, the email goes to spam. So let's say if you do not have a proper authentication mechanism set, and I send an email from your domains on your behalf from your domain, which are spammy in nature, they can block the spam filter can
So,
block your domain.
Pawan, this sounds very important, especially for many startups, because they're used to sending out so many emails, right? So,
Yes,
what is the cost of a service like that?
it's a very cheap product. I'll just say cheap. It's a very affordable product that you have so far. I think within 300 or $400 for a year, you can get it done.
Is it
I
for
think we started.
everybody in the company or per user?
So for everybody in the company. Yeah. So it's generally depending on the kind of volume that you send out. So let's say how many emails that your company is sending out. Not only this, but if you use that product, you will also be able to identify that's who's trying to send on an email on your behalf, and what kind of content was in that email. That too.
Okay.
Yes, you
Okay.
can check that onto the on our platform itself, and you will be surprised to see and those IP addresses, and you can take a legal action. There are a lot of things that you can do so far. You get a different perspective altogether.
Oh, but I think we're gonna sign up for that thing right away.
Sure,
So,
sure.
and so maybe I mean this is so important because I've seen those emails that seem to
Mhm.
be coming from like we don't even have an HR email, but someone created an HR email and sent it across to everybody in the company that you need to submit your documents again, and we have to
Mhm.
immediately go to Teams and then send a message out to everyone saying this is not an official email, so please do not respond to this email. So yeah,
Correct.
that would be a very, very, very interesting service to have. Especially, I think a lot of the startups are used to doing business development, so they are already sending maybe, if not hundreds, then thousands of emails in a week. So in that sense, it is very important for them to have something like that to ensure that even their marketing efforts are not going into the spam folder and actually going into the inboxes of people.
Correct.
So I think we'll be signing up for this. So I'll have
Yeah,
we're definitely going to make this thing happen tomorrow. But
definitely.
tell me now let's go back to Kratikal. We've talked a lot about what Kratikal really does, but from you did not start it out like you said as an enterprise to make money off of. This was not a business that you were thinking about, but it did become a business. And when did that moment happen? How did it turn into a business? And then you obviously raised money. So I think certainly it went from a business to a venture capital business, right?
Correct.
And now obviously you've got investors and pressure to perform. So just talk
Mhm.
about that journey of how you got from when you decided, okay, we're going to make a business out of this, and we're going to grow this quickly, and we're going to take investment.
Let's just go to this. Like I said, in the college itself, we didn't know how to run a business. We registered this company, I think, in 2013. The reason why we registered this company because when we were doing a small workshop, we used to charge a very small amount of money, obviously to cover the expenses and everything. And we are just focusing on the small college kids or school kids. And eventually, and we know a lot of stuff. When you train it, you have already experimented it first, and then you're going to train it. So we know that there are a lot of things which we did. We written a few blogs so far onto a platform, and we started getting customers. The people are asking for help. Either they've been hacked or they wanted us to grab the services. Okay, can you help us so far in this particular thing? And then we started building it up. Okay, yes, we can do help. Then we started testing the small things. But that is again in a second year or third year kind of third year, I think third year journey between third to fourth year. In third year, when we were doing this, there's one more interesting thing which happened with us is our college director or the college registrar get to know that we run business, huh? And they said that you can't do a business. You can't do business when you are in college. Yeah, so we were about to get rusticated from the college. What my argument was, we were invited and we said, my argument was that why I registered this company in November 13. I registered this, so I told them that if an MCA.gov is allowing me to get registered into their portal, means the government is allowing me to do a business. Why you are stopping me? Like, what are the things that I'm doing so far? I'm not harming anything. I'm not doing anything. Then this, so how the college professor works and everything, and it was a very tough thing for us. Then what we did so far is we understood how IITs does this because I know there are a lot of companies which came out from IIT Bombay, Kanpur, and there's some other institutions. And then we figured out there's something called eCell, which is entrepreneurship
Okay.
cell. And that's how we transformed into this. Then we got to know what startup is. Otherwise, we didn't know that. I and Deep Jung, we are the founder of eCell in our college, by the way.
Okay.
So yes, we
Interesting.
built that eCell over there. Not only this, but we also started a proposal drafted a proposal to Ministry of Human Resource at that one time, which eventually got accepted after we passed out from college. Now, 10 startups from our college gets 2.5 lakh funding, space in the college for running the businesses. And not only this, but the president of India, if you just check his tweets, have mentioned ECL and NIT, saying that I am proud of the people what they've created so far. They're focusing more on creating entrepreneurs than actually seeking for jobs. So that's how this eventually turned out. So one is then once the ECL is done turned out, we become again a startup. We started working. When we passed out in so we were in final year. Then
That's
we
very
thought
impressive. by the way. I mean, you
Yes.
made it sound like it was so easy, but I can understand working in. I mean, I have tried working with a couple of government institutions in India.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, one of them being MNIT as well. And my experience was, I mean, my experience was so frustrating. So I can completely understand when you say, trying to get an e-cell going inside a college,
Yeah.
especially one of the government controlled or government run colleges. I mean, that's impressive work, Pavan. I mean, that's really,
So
really impressive
I-
work.
yeah. So by the way, it's like you mentioned, it was not easy. So what we so for a e-cell to actually have a become a success, you need to do a promotions. You need to understand how things works. And our college. So I'm not saying that everyone in the college, there are one or two professors. There are a lot of professors who were supporting us. That obviously we should have something like this. But there's some professor we were saying, okay, no, you can't do this. There was a condition for running a e-cell, that the e-cell will never get funds from college, will never get
Okay.
funds from college. Yeah. The other part is there is an event which is being done so far in we generally call it Renaissance. Which Renaissance is a particular event that is being organized so far in college. They said if you wanted to host this event, you will not get a single fund, and if you make it successful, then only we'll accept what you are trying to say. And I and Deep and along with my team, we made it happen, and we did a profit of around 1 lakh rupees, resubmitted to the college. And the event generally cost more than 20 to 30 lakh rupees in a college, which funded by college itself. But there are a lot of events which generally happen, the cultural, technical, and everything. This was the first event, and it's been 6 years or odd till today. These events are still profitable. They make money, and they actually show the college, okay, this is how an entrepreneurship which should go on. And now, with what we have seen so far over these 6 years, that the college have taken a huge interest in those entrepreneurship initiatives. They have started giving up people opportunities, and this is a democratic thing. So let's say for every other fest, you have elections, you have everything, but for this, the everything is being done by people, for the people, by the people, and it's around like this. So we built that, and it's an amazing, and that's how we understood to run that particular thing so far in e-cell. We also run. That's how we run the company. So in the college itself, we have to. So in enterprise as well, it's not easy to run a startup all together. You have, especially enterprise startup, when you don't have money to burn, like a B2C company, which you get a customer by paying the customer. It's not like
Correct.
this. In our case, you go talk to these customers because it's a high value customer. You go, and they actually first, the product, when they buy it for the first year, they buy it on your face value. They buy it on the kind of thing that you're doing so far. They buy it on technology. But in the next year, the product sell themselves by itself. But in the first year, you have to push it to the
But
product.
let's talk about that for 1 second, right? I mean, a startup entrepreneurs, no degree when you started, and here you are, doing cybersecurity, telling companies much larger than you, people that are much more experienced than you, running businesses longer than you, and listen, you don't know how to protect your company. How did you find your first set of customers? That's
So
the
that's an
first.
interesting, that's an interesting story. And all thanks to our college, NIT Allahabad, and the alumni around NIT Allahabad, because NIT, there are 26 or 27 NIT, I exactly don't know the count. But what has happened so far is when we were in final year, like we organized eCell, and there's a benefit of organizing this because we asked a lot of entrepreneurs to come into our college. There are a lot of funds which comes. I think Amit Somani, if you know him, he was in the college itself for judging a particular panel. He was there, so we learn a lot, huh? And that one time we invited a guy called this JP Bhatt, who is the founder for Impact Q. It's a services based company which do a QA testing, which is manual automation and all these testings. So when he came to our college, he said, "Okay, hey guys, I have some work for you. Do you want to work with us?" So he was saying that join us. He has offered us a very lucrative package. I can just give you the kind of amount that he was offering. It was for one month. It was kind of the entire year's salary of my father. So it
Wow.
was like this. And we all, like I said, the Parathos is from computer science. I am obviously from biotechnology. Deep has a very extraordinary skills in communications. He's a very good guy. He got Paytm, by the way. So we thought, okay, so he thought, so we thought we told him that we will not do this kind of stuff. You can outsource the work that if you wanted to. We run behind you. Whatever work that you want, we will not go upfront. Obviously, no one will give us a business initially. Then he started giving us a small business, and that's how we got our first customer. I'll say first customer story is also a bit different because the first customer that we got is while we passed out from college. So we had a job. I had a very good, I think, 3 jobs so far in my hand, and which was again very lucrative. It's like handling an entire department of security. Parathos also had, Deepching also had. So Deepching was a product manager in Paytm. So we
Hmm.
asked him to join Paytm because someone has to support us. Huh? Someone has to support us financially. So when we dropped this, I didn't go to the go to my place, which is a native place in my village, because my father and mother were forcing to join the. So I also got selected for a PhD in IIT Guwahati. So they were saying that okay, you should go and do a PhD. There's a big amount of money that you get as a stipend, or you join this job. They were forcing me, so I didn't go to the village first. I just directly came to Delhi, took up a small, I'll say, space. Now this Udemy comes into action. So I started Udemy while I was in college. So this when I uploaded the lectures on Udemy, I used to get some amount of money, which eventually paid my rent on everything, whatever I was residing in Delhi for some
Wow.
time. And then Deepchang, like I said, so Deepchang joined Paytm after some time. Then he used to support some of the amount of, I'll say, financially, and some of the things that he used to do for us. Then the first thing that the first client story is like this. So eventually I got again connected with JP Watt. He was saying, okay, why you had, it's been I think 3 or 4 months, we had no business, we had nothing, we're trying hard to get into everything. We were going to the events, we're trying to get people, telling them what eventually we can do for them. But obviously no one listened to a single guy or two people who was just saying anything. Then we tried one more stuff, that we go to the Play Store, download the app, test it out, try to reach out the founder. And you wouldn't believe, one of the largest e-commerce company, we have actually told them a lot of vulnerability. I met the founder in one of the conference or the event which is organized by 91 Spring Board, or some people, I think probably the your story, in IT Delhi. So I told him this is a work. So he said, "Okay, come meet me in my office." I never received a call from this guy, but eventually he fixed those issues, which was actually leaking the entire data of his own consumers, and they never called
Wow.
back. So that's the thing which has been happened so far. But eventually, like I said, learning is the startup is a journey, and you learn from mistakes. Huh? You learn from mistakes. You do a lot of stuff, and then you eventually do some more thing. For you do another things. That's how things goes on. What we did so far is we partnered with Impact Q. Then I gone back to Impact Q because this was not working out. Then Impact Q told us, okay, we have some customer who wanted to get a security testing. Do you
Is,
want to do?
is this you teaching your course? I'm guessing.
Yes, yes, that's an IIT BHU. That's an IIT BHU. Then this guy told me, okay, we have a big telecom operator. Do you want to work with us? And thanks to him, because he's an alumni, what he did so far, he was not confident in us. So he hired two firms simultaneously, us and another firm of security itself. He was just wanted to give us a chance, with a very small amount of money. And thanks to him, then what happened so far is we tested their infrastructures, and you wouldn't believe, like it was largest telecom operator in India, and it still is. We were able to hijack the entire telecom network. You can block any number, you can reduce any amount, you can increase any amount. The kind of stuff that you were able to do is tremendously different. And then he compared the report of the guy, the other people that did it, and then the things that we did it. And then he found it is tremendously different. Then we asked for 2 seats. He gave us a 2 seats. And obviously there's something which we have equity kind of balance that we did for him. But that's how we got a first customer. And interestingly, that report goes to the CEO of that company, and then they says, "I know him, this particular company. They obviously do not do security. They outsource someone. We wanted to meet that guy who did it. So can you just introduce us?" And that we were invited, and thankfully those people, some of the people from that company are investor, is as an angel investor, and we raised funds like this. So there are one more company, and these called Wi-Fi Network. We did have some work for them, and there's a guy called Amajit Gupta, who was our first investor. So we was just presenting that report, and after that we said, okay, sir, do you have time? Because he was a MD for Juniper Networks. So we asked him for 5 or 10 minutes, and he was pretty much excited of what we were doing and what kind of things that we were able to do. Then he said, okay, and he was pretty much interested in the product that we launched, which is like one of right now which has more than 500K plus employees. The simulation which is run so far, we have every other banks that you can talk about on our platform, which is running simulation via us. So this guy told us that I believe on you. Let me know how I can invest, and that's how we got first check. The second check we got from that particular telecom network CEO. that he asked the entire security team to come in, and he was like, "Is this true?" That people are saying, "Yes, it's true, but we fixed it." Then he said, I don't want us. I'm not asking you that you fixed it or not. I'm asking you, is this true? Are these guys able to do that?" Then they said, "Yes, yes, yes, yes," and that's how we got our check. First check, basically combining those two, three people. So the first customer
Oh
and
my
check both.
God, ever make Rocket sing the startup entrepreneur, right? I think that yours should be the story to talk about because it's very exciting. I mean, I've always talked about the fact that entrepreneurs should as long as they're not funded, they should bootstrap by doing some consultancy work. But and for you to go out there and to teach Udemy, right, and to get some revenues going, so you're just keeping yourself alive, and
Mhm.
then utilize that experience and how you got your first customer, do fantastic work to actually get recommend for the CEO to realize that this work has not been done by X company. I mean, this is a
Yeah,
really amazing story.
correct.
But what is really exciting is that, and to talk to you is that you're smiling through this entire journey. It just seems like, oh yeah, this was a problem, but it really
Yeah.
wasn't a problem. I mean, where does this attitude? I mean, is this the attitude that you get from being in a village when you started? Like, or where did you learn this kind of an attitude?
So basically, I think that's come from upbringing. Huh? So the thing is, when you're in a village, you don't failures are never even recognized. So let's say even
Right.
if you're going for a co-op, eventually I'm not sure if you go to a farmer journey. Farmer is a phenomenal entrepreneur, and because he is doing everything right from execution, planning, and everything, and he failed at least for a 1 quarter. He is gonna fail because of the multiple reasons, because of the nature, because of the kind of things that he's done. And no one talk about. People have a sympathy with the failures. So even if you have something which is not working out, it's okay. Like this is what I've learned so far from there. And there are a lot of things. It's not like you always have a next step coming in. There's a time which solves everything. Huh? Time solves everything. So if you're not doing, let's say you do a single thing which fails, eventually you're going to do next thing which may pass. And if one thing hits it, and if you templatize that particular thing, it's going to give you success. And that's how the strong mindset, I'll say, come from that
So
particular
important.
background here.
Keep testing till you find something that succeeds. And once
Yes.
something that succeeds, templatize that and repeat that because that you've already found the key to success. That's amazing.
And
You've
also,
you've just brought
not
down.
only, yes, not only template. So one is templatizing the stuff, and you also then discontinue from that templatization. So let's say once you templatize a business model or a product or whatever support system, whatever you talk about, you just what you do once is templatize. The next thing you do, you put up people over here because you already put up a process and everything because it can work out. You just eventually has to come and check everything is working or not, and try to find a new experiment, because obviously what you have found so far is not always key that okay, this is gonna remain. Then you look for an alternative to make sure that everything which is much more than higher on, and actually I'll say obviously the metrics that you can define on higher on a matrix, you will always go find that metrics. So I'll just say experiment, templatize, and rerun. So basically just experiment, templatize, repeat. Experiment, templatize, repeat. That's how
So
you
let's
should
talk
do.
a little bit about about you because I think we've talked a lot about the business and we're almost out of time. We need to get to the rapid fire after this as well. Like how do you now keep yourself motivated, right? I mean, you've got a company, it's functioning, you've got 100+ people working for you. You're doing, you've obviously got Kratikal Academy. You're doing this thing called Pahel as well, right? Which is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
social organization. You're doing pretty much. Is this everything you want to do, or is there is there still something that bigger that you're trying to achieve now?
So basically, the bigger thing that I just wanted to and I'm not sure it will happen eventually or it will not happen. I'm not sure. So my thought process is in a human's brain, you have 200 billion neuron system. Okay, when I say neural system, it's a binary system, zero and off. That's how the computer works. In today's chip, 10 years back, it was 1 million in a chip. It's going to be, in next 10 years, going to be 10 million. And it's in the next 10 years, 10 years going to be a 1 billion. Means the human brain will actually, the computers will be or equal to a human brain. And this is what I predict so far. The kind of security that you need today and the kind of security that you need on that day is tremendously different. What I wanted to make sure is that the human evaluation is not surpassed by computers so far, and you will always need security system. So
Hmm.
eventually, developing the best system which not only helps enterprises or banks or the people who has access to money can get those security system, but a farmer, like I mentioned, who gets an OTP fraud call and the money which is being erased so far from his account, if we were able to solve this problem to make sure that there's no fraud which has been happening so far, then I'll say done and I'll take a retirement on that day for sure. So that's something I'll say.
Knowing you and your story, I don't see retirement anytime soon. At least
Yes.
not next for the next 25 years. I know we didn't go over this, but I just want to talk to you a little bit about you raised money obviously from your first two customers. You also raised money from a host of very interesting firms. I know Artha participated in the round as well. But you also had Let's Venture, Art Venture, Gilda Ventures, Praveen Dubey, Amarjeet Gupta, some very interesting investors coming into the round, and that too in a cybersecurity firm back in 2016, right?
Yeah.
Uh, did you like what was the feeling at home once they realized, oh wow, my son's not going to be doing a job, he's going to be an entrepreneur, and now people are putting money into his company.
So I think that's for entire life that you work for these days. When your parents are satisfied you are doing, and that's what they have invested in, be it be money, be it everything. Like generally we call it in Nikun Pasina, whatever they have did so far for you. And like I said, they didn't know what funding is. Huh? So eventually I'll just cut in a short thing. But what they know is that, so we got the first news, and that was in a Hindi newspaper. We had that newspaper coming to the village. Then everyone knows, okay, this is what they did, and it's something good which they did, because generally you have a newspaper article which says everything bad. So that was a fantastic day, and we celebrated that day when we got the first time, but just sitting in a room, like we all founders were there having a cup of coffee, and they said, "This is not a money. This is not something which we have achieved, or this is not big thing, but this is a lot of responsibility that we are taking in. Not because investors' money, what you do is it's not only your dream, you're also fulfilling the investor's dream, because they are counting on you, especially when you go for a small round. So you have a bigger responsibilities which you need to take care of, and you need to make sure that the aim that you decided, the problem that you're going to solve, which help the money will help to solve that problem, and that's what it is. So from I'll say the parent side, it was pretty good, because they're obviously going to get something which is pretty good for his boy, or for friends it was good, because they have seen me. There are a lot of people who have seen us so far during this entire journey. So they were saying, okay, this is something. The first milestone is getting funded, and they know that, okay, you have did a lot of things in college, but probably now you have money, you have right people, you're going to go it on a bigger scale. There are a lot of people who called us, told us, okay, I think it's a kind of all the best for a next thing. So next big thing that I can say.
So and where do you see now Kratikal in the next 5 years?
So the pretty plan was pretty different. I'll say clear that what we want to do. We wanted to erase this particular problem, which is a human driven problem, which is 90% of the problem which has happened so far in the industry. So within a 5 years, I obviously this is something that I really want from my heart, that you will see us as in one of the leading security startup in the world, not in India itself. So we wanted to cover the entire world. We wanted to make sure that, hey, so if someone wants to say, hey, I have this phishing problem, then the other guy should say, okay, go to Kratikal. So people should have that feeling that if I have Kratikal installed, or Kratikal it's put it onto my way, I'm pretty much secure. The people can be at home, relaxing, enjoying their day, instead of firefighting on a security incident or a hacking attempt which has been done so far. And the Critical can assure it. So the one is to become a large player, especially security background, because we do not have a good security companies. I'll say there are a lot of startups coming in now, but there's no good security companies out of India, which has become a global brand. Even in India itself, the
Sure.
biggest company I think I know is the Cookeel, which is a very
Correct.
company does a very steady revenue. I think they have not grown so far. So, but like I said, so we will be eventually surpassing those things. Within a 5 years, you'll see Critical as one of the leading security startup in the world.
It's a very lofty goal, and I think obviously Quickheal has a brand name. I think Quickheal is definitely right up there. So it's definitely, it's a high bar. I completely believe that India, just like we first thought the word KPO, BPO, and now I think what I call it CPO, as
Yeah.
cybersecurity process outsourcing, and,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's a really big team.
Yes, it is. I think, and it's so much more bigger right now.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So let me just, one last thing I want you to talk about, and I you told me this, before as well, that during COVID there was a few businesses that had critical applications, but unfortunately because of the business wipeout, they were unable to pay the bill, right? They were
Yeah.
unable to pay your bill, and you decided not to drop them as customers and are still providing them, some of them, free services.
Yes.
And I mean, I am yet to find somebody who's done that, where, and that too for another business. It's not like you're doing it for, it's for the needy, or somebody who does not have the money. This is like real business, and business is supposed to be cutthroat. So where do you get that, get the idea, like, like, I'm gonna provide free services?
Yeah, so we are pro on generally when someone asks for pricing, we always charge because obviously when you put up a services, you put up efforts, you put up a brain and everything. So we are in that business that you have to actually pay us. But the important part is it's not on the cost of compromising someone's security. So what happens over is during the COVID, there are a lot of people who are, like I said, so it was a JFM, which is January, February, March, which is the closest cycle for B2B companies, and the maximum revenue generates on those months. So what happens over, they were not able to pay us the money. What we suggested them is instead of discontinuing services, you keep availing the services. And the reason is, I believe that because of the fact that people sell to people. And that's a known thing so far in the industry. People sell to people for the first time, other than your product. So the next thing that goes with the product. So we wanted to make sure that they're not on, we do not work for money only. We work for a cause to make sure that our customer, our people, or the people that we are associated with are protected. So we make sure that even today, like it's been a year or so, we're still providing those free services to those customers who are not able to pay us. And these were predominant customers. It's not like they cannot pay us, but the thing is they have their businesses vanish. I can talk about some industry like media businesses, food industry. The food industry now is being bugging up again. So some of the people have started restored our billing, and I know for the fact that if you not let them go when they were in a bad situation, they will not let them go when you will probably going to be in a bad situation. So the thing is something which by which you can help people or help small medium enterprises or businesses to make sure they're running smoothly. Uh, Obviously, the other part is to mention because we do not have also cutted our employees so far in this during COVID. We not fired a single employee. We had a very small salary cut for a very small time, not more than that. So every other employees that we have retained them, not only retained them, but also provide them, I'll say, some of then appreciation due on promotion due on, we have provided them a due recommended promotion, which varies from your at least minimum from 10 to 12 goes to 100% kind of things. So the only part is we have the workforce ready. Why to actually put some people or some of the critical infrastructures in dangers when we can actually support them? We have supported them in the entire journey, and we'll keep supporting them even if they have some challenges. Not only these customers, but also all the customers that we have. Currently, we recently have been reached around 400 plus customers. We will keep supporting them.
Amazing. I think, Pavan, I did not know that this journey was going, this conversation was going to go through so many different deep facets, and you just smiled through it all. And I'm really, really, in many ways, blessed to be able to have this conversation with so many amazing entrepreneurs, and every one of them having their own story, right? And like your story is so inspiring. Simply coming from the background you did, and today where you are, and the ambition that I'm going to be one of the top cybersecurity companies in the world. And when somebody has a cybersecurity problem, they call Kratikal. So I don't think there is a better way now than to probably start rapid fire with you. I think you might have heard of this section. What we do is we ask you about 10 to 12 questions back to back. Is whatever first answer comes to mind, you need to give the answer instantly. And I'm sure, knowing your story, there's going to be something that's we're going to find interesting and talk a little bit extra about.
Okay.
Meanwhile, there is a lot of questions people have asked. Unfortunately, I've not been able to take them because I myself have been, sort of in awe talking to Pavan here. But we'll try
Uh-huh.
to take a question or two before we end for the day. So until then, we're going to go through rapid fire. If you have a question, go ahead and ask that in the comment section
So
below. Uh,
will I get an hamper for the rapid fire?
well, apparently some of our speakers did. So do keep an eye out. Do keep an eye out.
Uh, sure.
So in fact, I think somebody wants to join your company. Shivam Kushwaha.
Okay. Most welcome. You just drop an email to hr@kratikal.com and we are still hiring.
Yeah, hr@kratikal.com.
Yeah. Yeah.
kratikal.com.
Yeah.
So here we go. We're gonna get started over here. Pavan, first question is a Peter Thiel question. From his book Zero to One. One thing that you know to be true, but very few people agree with you on it.
That we are so it's a tough one, by the way. So the important part is like in the college when I talk about building a startup, everyone laughed. And now when I generally say to people that we are going to become India world's largest company, the people sometimes laugh. So I know that's true, but obviously
No, good. And you know what? First they laugh at you, and then they get in awe of you.
yes.
And,
And there are a lot of people, the same kind of people who ask us to join our company, and some of them joined us as an employee for this company. So yeah, that's a different journey altogether.
one piece of advice to founders about fundraising.
Don't raise if you don't need it. That's very important because you end up diluting a lot of things. I'm fortunate to have people like obviously like you, and there are a lot of people who actually add value. So there are a lot of not every other VC firms is actually looking for value. They just early exit and go on. So don't raise until if you don't need money.
No, it's true. I think having that chemistry alignment is very important. Right? It's like you're obviously inviting someone into your home, into your business, and if you don't have good chemistry, it could really spoil the culture, spoil the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite superhero and why?
So again, Iron Man is something which I really like. The reason is pretty much simple because I love technology much more than the way that is that probably obviously there are other people who does the same. The reason is the way he plays with the technology is different. And there's like we have a product upgrade. He comes with always upgraded suit and everything. The technology is something which is very very close to my heart. And when we even build the products, I generally literally go research. We already have a product managers and the people who actually research and everything. But even today, I go study about technology, how things can be worked out, the best possible way by which we give the user experience to the people, and always come with a better version like Iron Man for our product. So yeah.
Iron Man. It's been the most popular answer so far. I think we've hardly had Batman or Superman. It's always been Iron Man.
You're,
Next
you're talking
question.
about tech founders.
Yeah, I think we're talking about. I mean, it's all tech founders. You're right. You're right. Even investors actually. It's all Iron Man everywhere. So tell me, would you rather go if you had to choose between these two? Which one would you choose first, right? And scaling before profitability or profitability before scaling?
Is scaling before profitability. I'll go with this word, and the reason is when you actually become profitable, the things that comes into your mind first is okay. Let's run this in this way, and then you forget about growth. So when you are not profitable, you always hungry for growth because you need a amount of money. You have to go to the investor, and investor is going to ask the first question: how's your growth? The first thing
Hmm.
is that even if you can become let's say you can focus on growth along with the profitability, then it's cherry on cake basically. So the important part is to have a growth, irrespective of you are profitable or not. But you always should be hunger to get more and more customer to provide more and more facilities. So growth is something that you look for.
Growth, definitely. I think growth is very important, and like you said, if you can manage growth and profitability, then obviously you're golden. If you could pick the brain of one person for 24 hours, ask them anything you want, who would it be?
So I do not have specifically anything into the brain, but I actually have a lot of interest in US politics. Okay, so I'm gonna ask Trump is the real guy behind this Capitol riot. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, that would be very interesting conversation. I think you should live stream that
Yeah.
when you're doing it. And and considering Trump's current situation, I trust me, he would want to take over your Twitter account to do that. Let me ask a quick question. When do you get your best work done? Are you a morning person or a night person?
So I'm a night person. So I generally, so for me, it's like morning is happen around 9:30. Sometimes it's 11. But I usually sleep very late. Sometimes 2,
Okay.
5, 6. Sometimes generally, what happened so far is I am very customer centric. Like I used to go to the all the support tickets which is coming to our platform. I wanted to make sure that the customer is getting it exactly seamless experience. So one is customer support. So we have a couple of customers which is from across the world. So I just go one by one ticket. The customers, what kind of experience that they have. We recently launched one of the platform where we have a 20 reviews and all reviews are 5 out of 5. And
Wow.
and this is what we want. We want you to experience. So security is sometimes being compared with the usability. Okay, we wanted to have the best class of experience along with the security. That's something we wanted to enter in, and that's why it goes on a long thing. The maximum nights goes for a research. So basically, I do a lot of research for our products or services and what will work best. Trying to get into the things. Okay, this is how we can solve this problem, or this is something which we can actually additionally benefit to the customer. So that's how we just go into that direction.
If you want to obviously get more work done, if you work 100 hours a week, while everyone else is working 50, you'll get twice the amount of work done than the person who do 50 hours a week. So in 2 years, you're not just sometimes you're not just 2 years ahead, you're actually 4 years ahead. You were already 1 year ahead coming in. So it's very important. I think
And
just take
it's
care of
not
your health. It's very
So
important.
it's not me only. Okay, I just wanted to put one more thing. It's not me only. So we are three founders. So we have an combination, like it's a, I'll say, unplanned kind of understanding that one founder is an early morning person who comes into the
Okay.
office at time in the morning, manages everything so far, and the rest two founders is like late person. So they actually manage the entire thing from starting operations and everything. So we have a kind of balance, because cannot actually, you cannot compromise discipline when it comes to running an enterprise. So we wanted to make sure that everything is aligned. So an unconditional, I'll say, things which is runs into our environment. So one founder is taking care of everything that you wanted to do from morning, starting early and everything, and he's that kind of guy which runs via processes. And there are some people who are creative, which is who don't like processes and who focus on a creative part. And so that's how it's being divided. So that's how we are managing it entirely.
No, it's important. I think that's a good thing that at least the founders have figured out a chemistry between them, how to make things work. So last couple of questions. One thing you would like to change about the Indian startup ecosystem.
One thing I like to change about the Indian startup ecosystem. The important part is I'll categorize this startup into different part. Okay, one is very early stage startups. Okay, the other is which is going on a Series A, and the other is going on a Series B. I do not have a lot of experience into the B2C startups, so I'll rather comment on those startup. But the early stage startup tends to raise fund very soon. Okay, uh, today if you go build a product, if you are a techie guy, you will actually need 0 rupees to run or start a startup. If you wanted to go on a B2B, I'm again not saying you're going for a
No.
B2C. What you can do so far is you have a system, you go to Amazon.com, AWS gives you $1,000 for free, you just apply it, you get a domain for free of cost, you get everything free of cost for running a particular startup, and you don't have to register it unless you have some revenue. So just build up a small MVP, test it out for some of the people that you know, and once it's being built up, then go and raise funds, because you actually you will save your own time as well as the investor's time who's going to look into your deck. Because if you have an MVP, you get a confidence. Okay, this product is going to work, or this product is not going to work. You will get some feedbacks. So try to do that first, and I'll say eventually within friction, it will not put up more than 8 days to, I'll say, 20 days, because the first MVP that we developed in house. Okay, like I and Parathos, who is my co-founder, was developing that MVP, and Deep Singh is the guy who sold those MVPs and try to get some feedback from the customers. So try to do that. But again, next for a Series A startups, like I said, we are on kind of on that stage. focus on both. Once you have got some of the customer, like you've funded an angel, you get the customers. Focus on the things the customer wants you to focus on. Okay, you are full of ideas. Okay, like we are full of ideas. We know tons of things which can come to the product, which can eventually we feel that it can turn out. It can become so wonderful and so nasty or so important that no one can. I know it's good to have those kind of things, but get a customer feedback. Try to see what they wanted to get in. Well, I can tell you a few example that when we put up some analytics. One more thing, put up analytics on everything that you can see. Like measure it. Like we say, na, just measure it. What you can see. So what kind of user journey that people have on a product, what they are liking about, what are the features they wanted to drop in, what are the features they wanted to look in, and then build those things. And once you build a product, like I said, funding will come in for sure. That's not good. I'll not comment on the Series B when it started because I'm not at a stage, but obviously I'll just come back and then tell you that what.
We'll come back. We'll bring you back to the show when you're doing your Series B, and we'll talk about what needs to happen from there. Cool. Let me ask you one last question. What is one thing that investors should bring to the table other than money?
Connections are very important for me. Like I said, so I know that there are a lot of connection which is being made by Artha Venture Funds with their portfolio companies with us. What founders need is and some of the more. If I add one more additional point is the next round, okay, which obviously investor does. Some of the founders what they are looking is they majorly look for connections or the business that they can go in. They don't want you to sell. Okay, they what they want is 5 minutes or 10 minutes meeting where they can present themselves what they have created so far. If you can facilitate those connections, I think everything is done. Be partnership. So let's say if you can introduce them to a partner which can help them sell this product into different market. Like we recently have a partner in a Middle East market who's actually helping us. So we got 5 or 6 customers from Middle East. We're just sleeping in a home. Customer sign-ups, anything's done. The payment is been made. So we don't know what's happening, but the partner is doing their work. The people are on the ground doing fantastic work. But because it was initiated with an introduction, with a small 4-line introduction of the email, and that worked so well. So the connection is something that is really important for companies it's at a lot of value, and the investors to come bring in the connection because and the investors are generally some previous entrepreneurs or they hold an experience. Apart from connection, they can also tell what should to talk about or should not to talk about. So they know everything. The kind of things that you, it's like generally what I generally used to tell to my salespeople, or generally we generally tell, is that when you go on a road, you have breakers, okay? But if you're driving for the first time, you will not identify these are the breakers on that road. But if you have someone who already driven through the road, he probably knows there's a breaker, so you can actually skip on that breaker, or like slow down on breaker, and then just pass that breaker instead of getting hurt yourself. So that's something which is very important for us. Like we are also looking for the people, not only connections from a customer, but also from a hiring perspective. So let's say for us, we are looking for people who has scaled a business from 1 million to 10 million, or 5 million to 20 million, or 50 million kind of business. So the kind of connection that they bring in, they know everything. Huh? They know everything. So this is something that I really feel they should bring on the table.
I think you covered such an important point for especially on the investor front, right? I think strategic help is one thing, but also business development help, industry connects, and even fundraising help, right? All these things are extremely important. I think these are some of the foundational things that investors should be helping with. And I'm glad you sort of summarize that in a very nice way to say, like even helping with a partner in the Middle East who can sell our product, we can go a long way. So, in fact, one of the things I'm going to do is also tell our portfolio teams to at least to give you a list of all our investing companies and tell you to go to town. Tell me which one of these requires Kratikal's help, and then make that connection. So I think that's coming up. I think that's at least from my side. That's one more thing that I can do for you. There's a lot of questions, but we've really overrun our time by a lot. But I will take at least one. I think let me just take one question. Yeah, there you go. So I think we'll take Tejasvi's question, which is Tejasvi asked that I see that you work with startups as well. How can a startup identify the need for cybersecurity? What stage does it become essential versus good to have?
So I think, like I mentioned, in the stage of MVP, or when you have 100 or 200 plus customers, you can go because you are not recognized. So let's just think like this. So when you talk about security, just think like a physical thief. Okay, what they wanted to get in from you. So you can understand then when you need a security. When you're building an app, think what kind of critical data that you store. If it's a payment app, you get it done from a single day, the first day that you enter into business. Because so I'll tell you this story. We work with a payment company where if you make a 1 rupees payment, you will get 10,000 rupees in your wallet. And things like you can do a 10,000 such transactions in a single day, just writing a script, 5 minutes time, and you get that amount back into your bank account. So the kind of impact that it can create is huge. So the first thing that you need to understand is what kind of business you are in, what kind of data you are holding, and what kind of transaction that you're doing so far. So if you have a 1 to 100 plus kind of users, which is like in B2B or B2C kind of environment, you should go for. If you have a small amount of money, you can go for. Or what you can do so far is you can contact a particular company, a small company, like we do a sometimes we do a free POC. So again, we can tell you, okay, this is what can be done with your application or infrastructures. Okay, of a single bug. So you can understand the amount of security that you need for your application. There's one more thing that I advise to the tech founders that they should go to something called OWASP. Okay, this is an open web application standard for security. There are 10 bugs. Okay, 10 bugs so far into the entire world that they'll be highlighted. Try to make sure that those 10 bugs does not exist in your application. There's a majority time people who actually when the application is being hacked because of those 10 bugs. So your authentication should be strong and try to use frameworks which are rigid like the framework which are being used by the people. Do not write it into a plain piece of paper.
How do you spell that? OWAPP? Is that how
No,
you?
I'll let's just tell you. Just give me a second. I'll just send a link. So yes, so they should at least focus on these things so that they are protected for some time. And once you do that, I think you're pretty much protected. Now, how can identify the leader? Okay, this is like I said. If once you funded, you should go for a for a security testing because you got a lot of PR. And as soon as you got a lot of people, there are a lot of people who are behind you, who just try to get the data that you have, or and you must be seeing a lot of data which is being posted on dark web, a lot of startup which is being hacked on a public domain. I can talk about, I think, the big basket. There are a lot of public disclosure which has been done so far by a lot of companies. So you just focus on that so that you should not come into that preview. And there's a very important thing in the future, probably not this year, but the next year or next year, we will have a PDP, which is called Personal Data Protection Law. Once this come into effect, the people who will not disclose these things will be responsible and they will be fined up to a huge amount. So I think we should start focusing on the security first, and not only for because of these laws, but also to save your people from these kind of attacks.
I think with that, thank you so much for your time, Pavan. I think everybody really enjoyed the talk. We didn't even realize we're 1.5 hours in, and it seems that the conversation would go on for even longer. But I think we'll leave some for when you
Yeah.
do your pre-series, your series B round, as you were talking about, and we'll be excited to have you back. Any final thoughts? Any final things to talk to our audience? I mean, I'm guessing there's a bunch of people online, and the viewership is only going up. So, anything
Okay.
you'd like to say?
Nothing like this. Just keep going on. So the other part is the one important thing which has benefited me a lot is I started early. Okay, like while in college. If I would have been job, I would have been burdened with a lot of stuff, EMIs, car, etc., 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 which I never created. I've never created a burden on myself. Try early, start early and start fail so that you understand the kind of potential you have. Once you identified what kind of potential you have, you will be able to actually make a lot of things easier for yourself. And the worst part is start early. And if you fail, it's okay. The people respect you. So let's say whenever we get a resume and if we found something written like founder, it's like this is the eye catching for us. The reason is because the guy has already gone through entire process. He may know HR, he may know finance, he may know sales, he may know everything. The kind of struggle that he would have done is tremendously different. So you even if you failed, you have a tons of opportunity to go around. So start early and start fail. That's something that I can just summarize with, and that's the benefit that I have availed so far, and it's a opportunity for you guys as well.
Definitely, and I think you're the poster boy of starting early, and the fact to keep it going. I mean, you're almost 9 years into a business,
Yeah.
and in an area where 3% of businesses make it to 10 years, and you're
Yes.
and you're there. So thank you so much, Pavan. Really enjoyed the conversation. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of emails coming your way, but I mean, like I said, I'm really really blessed to have these kind of conversations every single week and to really meet entrepreneurs from all walks of life, right? I mean, we've got entrepreneurs that came from Ivy League schools and IITs, and then we have entrepreneurs that have come from small towns and in Orissa, and you from Agra, and it really talks about how vibrant our ecosystem really is. That we've got so many entrepreneurs, all coexisting, all really growing the entire ecosystem forward. So I'm super excited to see what Kratikal does, and thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Anirudh, for inviting me. And thank you, entire team of Artha, for organizing this because they took a lot of time and they collected everything so far. And thank you so much again for your time. Thank you so much, viewers. If you have any question, just in the email box.
Yeah,
Always happy to answer. Yeah.
Pavan at Kratikal.com. Thank
Yes.
you,
Yeah.
everybody. Have a good night. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.